welcome to Your City at Work. I'm Tom Loucks, your host, and today I have Sarah Dresel with me. She's our new HR director for the city of Marshfield. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and we're going to get to know you a bit better.
Excellent.
And you bet. And introduce you to our residents out there.
Sure.
That watch our programming online, on TV, all the methods, and even on our city YouTube channels.
Excellent.
So then when you're out and about, people will say, I saw you before.
That's right.
That's how that works. So you'll become famous after this show. I don't know. We'll see about that. But, well, let's get right into the program here. I do this with different individuals throughout the city and employees. And you started in June, if I'm right?
July.
July.
Yep.
Okay. Well, let's get to know you a little bit better.
Sure.
Tell me a little bit about your family.
Sure. So I have two kids. My husband and I do. And we also have a stepson. So he lives in Minnesota.
All right. And you came from the Stevens Point area. Talking before the program, you grew up there.
Yeah, definitely. So lots of family in the Stevens Point Plover area. Grew up there, went to Spash, did the whole gamut. So.
Okay. So you still your parents are around that area?
Yes, and actually, funny enough, I live 5 houses down from where I grew up. So my parents still live in the same house. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yes. So you are still going to be living there. You commute. That's
Correct.
pretty common nowadays. People commute 2-hour drives. What is it? About a 40-minute drive for you?
About that. Yeah.
Not too bad. Well, we haven't had the winter yet. Hopefully, it's good for
right?
you.
We'll manage.
As some people know, I was from Plover as well, and unfortunately, I just couldn't do the drive any longer. But well, hopefully, it works out for you, and you can do that. But your kids go to school into that district over there, and
Yep, both go to Plover Wedding School in the Plover area.
okay, sounds like they're younger.
Yep, both in grade school. So
Oh.
one in 6th and one in 4th.
Oh my gosh! So you're busy.
Yes.
You get to do those fun things with the kids,
Yep.
and still go to the water parks yet, and things like that.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's a lot of fun yet. So great. Well, you got a chance to come over here to Marshfield, 35 minutes over here, and you have a degree in working in HR field. But before we go to that level, let's talk about some of your experience that you had before you came here.
Sure. So fresh out of college, I went to UW Stout. Out of college, I came back to the area and actually worked for my parents' business for a little bit. And that's really where I started to kind of work on leadership skills and things like that. So worked for them for quite a few years. And then I actually moved to the Twin Cities area.
Oh.
So there I worked for Target headquarters, and that's really where I would say I started to become passionate about HR specifically. So my degree is in psychology, and I really wanted to be able to help people, and I wasn't sure how I really wanted to do that. So some of my courses were HR related, and then, like I said, with Target, they gave me the opportunity to really deep dive into that. So spent a few years there, met my husband. And once we started to grow our family, decided we wanted to move back to Wisconsin. Great place to work, live, raise your family. So once we moved back here, I've worked at a few places, again, really enriching, I would say, my HR experience, and which has ultimately led me here, which I'm super excited to be here.
Okay, well, it's not too far away. You're able to use the skills that you wanted to go in as a career. Took a few different paths to get here.
Yep.
But that's normal in this world. We all have to do that. You had a chance to move away from your hometown for, what, a couple years you said, right?
Yeah, it was probably about 8 years.
8 years. That's a long time. And then coming back, a little bit of a change for you, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you like the change?
I do. I think most of the communities in the area have grown for the better. I think there's a lot of really great new things, both in the plover community and here as well. Definitely coming here as a younger person, I will definitely say it changed a lot coming back here now, and it's been fun getting to re-know Marshfield. So.
Right. Were you in any sports back in Spash that you'd come here for games?
Yep. Oh, yeah, definitely. And more for my brothers. My brothers were heavy into sports. So, yeah, we were here quite regularly. So.
Okay. Well, that's good. That you get to stick around here in this area. You know what snow is like, so we're not getting someone down in that area. And let's talk a little bit about HR in general, and maybe some of the people that are watching it, we're talking HR. What's that mean? It's human resources, but what does that mean, and then what does it mean for you today?
So I think even for me, it has grown and changed since I started in HR. So I think for me, when we're really talking about HR, it really is anything and everything you can think about from an employee experience. So it ranges from policies and procedures to just dealing with maybe issues that are happening between coworkers or things of that nature. So I would definitely say it's kind of anything and everything you can think of people-wise.
All right. So you have to be open to listen a lot to employees. Is that part of the job? And then documentation? You have to listen to both sides. As you know, there's always disagreements, and you kind of have to deal with some of that stuff. No matter where we work, anywhere in the world, it's not unique, but your job is to make sure things are fair, too.
Absolutely. I think that's probably the biggest thing within human resources is listening, like you said, to both sides of the story, trying to get the full picture, and then really making good, solid decisions based off of that, keeping good confidentiality, being that sounding board for employees too. Sometimes a lot of things come across my desk that aren't necessarily things that I would specifically deal with, but they feel comfortable coming to me and making those statements. So that's really important to me, is really building those relationships with employees and just really understanding kind of what the needs are. Okay.
Well, you're over at City Hall. That's where you're located, and people might see you on our meetings, TV meetings that we do, finance, budget, and personnel, which is personnel would be your area in that, and you might be bringing on a policy, something mentioned to the council, in that kind of area. Is it a little bit more difficult because some of the employees, a lot of our employees are not at City Hall. The work is done all around. You get streets, and you have parks and rec, and I don't know about, in police too, right, and fire? Library? A
little bit,
Little bit. Okay. Utility would be the only one that's a little different, right? Because they have their own HR.
Yep.
But how do you have, you're kind of a one-person operation. You do have a part-time person, kind of like half and half, shared administration to HR assistant. That's a lot of work for, you're like me.
Yes, no, definitely. And I think the great thing is when I very first got here, I did go to a lot of the different locations. So I did meet with the department heads and things like that. I think it's really important to showcase that they don't have to always come to me. If they need it, I can come to them. So it's really opening up the channels of communication that way. And so I really tried to do that in the beginning. And then I really want to continue to be able to showcase that if they have a need and it really makes more sense for me to be there, I certainly can do that. And my partner in crime, Amy, is wonderful at really helping me kind of manage that. So
okay, great. Have you worked for a public? Is this the first public institution, or have you always worked in the private industry?
This is my first public, yes. So it's definitely a little bit different.
A little bit different, definitely. And will you be doing negotiations, working with that down the road, like police and fire?
Correct.
So is that something that will be new for you as well, the bargaining area?
Yep.
And I'm sure that comes up every few years.
Absolutely.
They do a 2 or 3 year contract, although that's I think it's only with police and fire now.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Years ago it probably was with DPW and all that, but that's all changed. So where did you come in again before? What was your last job before this?
Right before this, I worked for Furniture and Appliance Mart as their HR person.
Yeah.
I was there for a little under a year, and then prior to that, I was at Wausau Tile.
Okay. All right. Well, so you're used to driving. So
Absolutely.
Wausau Tile is a little. It's on the. That's over in Rothschild almost. If I
Correct.
remember right. I worked in Wausau for many years in the '90s. So.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
definitely. So you know.
Oh, I know it's changed over there, but I get it. Yeah. So back to let's go back to HR, human resources. There's a lot of different areas in HR. It's a really big area for you to cover. Yeah. We just talked about bargaining, and we talk about raises, and we talk about discipline, and all these things. That takes a lot to manage. Is there some kind of a way that program or something that database that you can have all this information in for you, or is it something you're working on?
I would say every position I've had in HR, it kind of depends on the organization that you're with. So I think it really is just staying organized, keeping really good notes, having a good kind of filing system, finding ways to remind yourself of things that are coming up. So not necessarily a specific system. I mean, we do have some systems in place that are personnel related, but I would definitely say from just an organization standpoint, it really has changed and morphed over the years. But I would definitely say, I'm trying really hard to stay focused and really keep things front of mind as much as possible. So,
coming into a new job, that's not always easy, and you're taking over the shoes of another person that was here for like 7 years, and you don't want to make a big change. No one ever does that too often. If you do it, it could be trouble. How do you work? I mean, you're going to change things. It's just going to happen. It's just part of the deal. And anybody new comes in that is like a department head. So, are you taking it slow on how you're implementing some new things?
I would say kind of a combination. So I would say, I came on board and I think there were a few hot things that needed to be taken care of quickly. So I think the biggest thing for me has been doing a lot more listening and a lot more questioning. So for me, it's getting the history. I think the history is important. Asking the right people, things like that. I think, again, it's an interesting situation where it isn't just me making decisions and it can just move forward quickly. I think there's a process that's a little bit different in this sector. And so it does require, I think, a lot more being open and not being afraid to say, you know what, I need to learn a little bit more before I make this decision. But so it's been a combination. Some stuff has changed quickly. We've moved forward with some potential policy changes and things like that. But definitely, I'm not afraid to ask a lot of questions. So.
Sure, yeah. And working with the council is one of those that they actually have to approve some of your stuff.
Correct.
A lot of which is a little bit different for you. Instead of you saying the green light or your boss giving you the green light, they give you the green light. They can kick it back and say no. You could either start over or redo it and bring it back to them. A little bit different when it comes to certain policies and procedures. Correct. Because they do that versus what you're used to. Great. I've seen on HR, a lot of people have different titles. I don't know what they mean. SMHR, all these things. I've seen it. Jen and RAQ, which you took over from, had a few different titles. Past ones that I worked with, Rapid said, what are those? Are they just certification titles for you guys?
Yep, definitely. Okay. There's lots of different certifications you can have, and definitely, they're great things because I think a lot goes into the certifications themselves, a lot of training, and then it's constant training after you receive them. So you're always having to go back and make sure that you're up to date on everything, you're getting your hours in, that kind of thing. So
do you have to do that? Are you doing that as well down the road?
Currently doing that, yes.
You are currently doing that. And it helps in this job anyway because rules change.
Absolutely.
Right?
All the time.
So I mean, you have to work with FMLA and all those things in COVID, and some of that stuff changes in a day.
Absolutely.
So you have to make sure you're staying on top of it. Nobody's probably going to just get it to you.
Right.
Right?
It is a lot of researching, yes.
Yeah, so you got to make sure that you're following the rules, especially in an employment area. Although we have a finance department, and you don't have to worry too much about. You're not worrying about that payroll area. That's all done by that area, so that works out good.
Yeah.
What are some of the opportunities you hope to do over the next couple of years? Is there anything that you're hoping to get involved with, change that you can kind of let us know to a point?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think Jen set the stage for some policy changes that she, would have liked to have seen come to fruition, and so I think that's probably going to be some big things. It's just re-looking at policies, tweaking things a little bit, bringing them up to date. I think that'll be critical just to kind of keep us moving forward. And then I think it's really I'm still in the phase of what's important to the employees, what are they looking for. So I definitely think more will come with that in the next probably several months. Definitely still getting my feet wet.
Oh yeah, that's understandable. Takes a while. Even a year, you get a year under your belt, and you look at back what you did the year, like, why did I do it that
Right?
way? Yeah. But that's growing, and that tells me everyone's learning, and that works out really good. But you have goals in mind that you want to do, and let's talk a little bit about performance appraisals. People always have heard about that. Do they have them in the government sector, or do they not? I think that's a question people would want to know.
We do.
Okay.
I would say we have those yearly, and I would definitely say that's something that we're going to look at probably for this next year, just kind of revamping that maybe a little bit. In that performance review, it is looking at the previous year, and then it is looking at what goals you have for the next year. We've had the same form for quite a while, so we're just going to kind of review that and see, is it still what we want, or do we want to make some changes? So, but yes,
Sure.
It is yearly.
And it is a little bit different in the private and public sector. Raises are kind of they're determined by the council, right?
Correct.
They're not really determined on like what you do versus you get a score of 8. You do that stuff. A little bit different, isn't that? Is that ever done in a? Do you know of if it's ever done in that private sector or public sector? Excuse me.
So, at one previous establishment that I worked at, we did have kind of, you got your performance review, but merit was really kind of predetermined, and unless you were a poor performer and it was stated you were a poor performer, it was just a basic increase. So it's kind of similar in that situation here. However, if someone is a poor performer here, then the predetermined amount is either they get it or they don't.
Right. So it's either you either get it or you don't. There's not you get 10% more, you get 20%.
Right.
That doesn't exist. Although we are on a scale system, but that's done not by you. That's determined by a company before they're hired, I think.
Yep.
So that's a little bit different too for you, right? Have you seen that kind of structure before?
No, this was a little newer for me,
Okay.
and it being a little less private as far as wages and things like that, but kind of unique as well. So it's been a little bit of a learning curve, kind of learning that, but yeah, I think there's pros and cons to it, just like there is in the other sectors. So.
Oh, definitely, yes. So, well, you've been here since July, you had said, and just getting to meet the employees is really important. There's no way you've met all 100 and some. How many do you have approximately?
A little over 200, and then in the summer, obviously, that shoots way up with the pool and things like that.
Okay. So do you sit in on interviews on some of this stuff, or not every interview that's done here with the 200 and some people?
Yeah, so I would say typically what I've been doing is if we've had an opening for a salary position or an hourly position, I've been sitting in on them just so that I can kind of experience, what the supervisors are asking for, managers are asking for, things like that. But I feel like we're very consistent in what we ask and how we ask it. So, once we're feeling comfortable and things like that, I would definitely say, someone within HR will probably be in on those, but I probably won't be in on every single one. So, just kind of depends.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we got a little bit of time left. Let's talk about job opportunities. Why not?
Sure.
Because the public is watching, and if they want to look for a job through us, and we have some at times.
Yep.
How do they do that? And if they wanted, they don't just pick up the phone and call you.
Right.
Where do they go to find these jobs we may have, especially come summer? We
Yes.
definitely need it. So
So what I've been seeing since I've been here, and this currently could change, but we do heavily use Indeed. So typically you'll see our jobs out there for that. Also our website. You've done a great job of making sure everything is out there and visible. But definitely I think there's other tools as well. We do reach out to some organizations that do put information out for veterans and things like that. So, but we're going to explore more because definitely, and I think all sectors are feeling this. There is a definite hardship when it's coming to finding employees. So.
it's changed more, and every year it's going to get harder. I look at it come from the baby boomers generation are retired. I don't know where that age group is 60s on up. I don't know the exact number.
Yeah.
But they're gone, and there's not enough of my generation, your generation. You might be, I don't know. You might
We're
be.
close.
We're close. How about that? We'll leave it as that. I'm after that generation, but I just can't think of them all. There's so many of them. But yeah, it's going to get difficult, and you need to
Definitely.
find ways in recruitment, and
Correct.
that's going to be one of your key is recruitment.
Absolutely.
And I mean, you can hire recruiters, but again, that costs money.
Absolutely.
So you're going to be looking at internal ways yourself to
Yep.
help build that rapport with others that might be out in the field. And well, you'll be getting involved with other municipalities, learning that. Are you doing anything with the league? You're probably just going to start doing some of that. It's the League of Municipalities, which is a great organization, I should say,
Definitely.
with people. So, well, what else am I missing that we didn't really get to bring up that get to know you in HR field?
I don't know. I think we covered quite a bit.
Yeah, so if you get out there, go for lunch sometime out
Yeah.
there, and somebody sees you or sees you on TV, they may look at you twice. They may not say it or 3 times, and that's what I get. You'll get that look. I've seen you, but I can't replace. That.
Yep.
That happens, but it'll get better as you go,
Absolutely.
unless you stay and eat in City Hall and don't go anywhere.
Oh no,
No?
I like to get out. and
You like
about.
to get out a little bit.
Absolutely.
Well, that's good. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I appreciate you coming by. This is the program that I do on a weekly basis. I get
Awesome.
different people in. Steve is in one, and our Wood County Sheriff's in one, and we'll bring you back on probably with maybe another employee down the road. See how things
Awesome.
are going. Maybe revisit in another year and see what are the things and changes that you've made.
Great.
Anything for Christmas coming up? I know I'm saying Christmas, but it's not July anymore.
Yeah, I think we're starting to look ahead towards the end of the year, and we'll definitely keep everybody informed on what's going on.
What's going on? Yeah, definitely the employees and getting them involved in different things as well. That's all about being teamwork together, and hopefully
Absolutely.
we can do that. So, all right. Well, thanks again for coming by.
Thanks
I really
for having me.
appreciate it. And I'm Tom Loucks, the Communication Director of the City of Marshfield, and this is our program that we had. And today I had Sarah Dresel, our new HR Director, started in July of this year, and we welcome her aboard. And if you want to get to meet her, she's at City Hall. Come to a council meeting because you do go to those. It's a good way to say hi before that, or a finance, budget, personnel. You mostly need to go to those as well.
Yep.
I think that's the easiest way if you need to come and
Absolutely.
want to say hi, is those meetings are open to the public. So thanks again for watching us.